Today's job, I just picked this up from the dealer. It's a tire kit for to plumb in hydraulics on this little 30 horsepower tractor. You've got your, this is a takeoff, this mounts onto the actual housing. You uncap a little round cover, and this is your outlet and inlet pipe. No, that's your two bolts. There's your outlet and inlet right here and here. You hook these two ends to these lines. That brings you over like that. And that brings you over to the other side of the tractor. And you mount this up. There's your inlet on this side. So these probably go like this. And there's some adapters in there. You can see the adapter right there and there. Got your mounting hardware. This mounts on, I think, like that, and then this mounts somewhere. I'll figure it all out. This doesn't come with the kit, but I need these. They're gonna go on the front here. I've already got one set of hoses, so I'll mount these two here and here, and I'll show you what I already have on the tractor. These are your handles. Drop on there. You pin them in. The plastic knob for the handle is right there. There's two of them in here. Everything I need here. And what's crazy about this whole setup here is I could have bought just these one stackable control for $2,200, or I can buy everything you see here for I think it's around $750 I paid for this stuff, not including these two things. So you take these out, everything you see in front of you, around $750. $2,200 for this alone. Take this off, or $750 for everything you see. It doesn't make sense, but that's the way it is. That's the kind of world we live in today. I'll show you what's on the tractor now. So right up in here is where the wheel bolt's on. I got the wheel off. There's the control, and you can see the lever. It's mounted on top, goes up through the metal, the orange sheet metal. So the control's inside the lever's inside the cab. The hoses come out the back. So right here, you've got the two hoses. Not very good light. Try and get a set up here. So you got your two hoses, and there's one of your stackable controls. And this cap comes off. These 3 bolts undo. You can add another control on there. It should be easy to do this job, and it shouldn't take very long. These hoses go out the front, and they're underneath here, so they're in a good spot. And then the scenario I'm in right now is I've got a plow on the front of this tractor, and on the back I've got a little hydraulic salter, spread salt or pea stone or sand for walkways, and I can only run one thing at a time. Last winter I had to spend the whole winter unhooking the salter and hooking up the plow so I can angle the plow back and forth. Or I had a choice between one or the other, and I couldn't run both. So it gets to be a little bit annoying hopping out, unhooking hoses, hooking hoses up, and always needing the other. It would just be so much handier. So I'm spent the money. This machine came with everything you see on it. It came with the cab, came with the snowblower, came with a snowblower, and I bought a plow elsewhere and mounted the plow on it. And I bought the salter from another guy, and it's a really, really nice setup. So it's got the heated cab, a little bit rusty, but I can live with that. And so the control. Let's see if we can unbolt these 3 bolts. We'll clean everything with a rag really clean and get this off. We'll see what's in there. Should be some oil pour out. I'll get a pan underneath, and we'll see if we can mount that control up. This should be a really easy job. I'm looking at it thinking, geez, this is probably like 15-20 minute job. You can see this is the control here. You could keep stacking these controls forever, but eventually you would have to do something about this lever. It won't fit anymore. It won't pass. It won't clear. I think the third one, they said you can mount 3. I think the third one you'd have to make a modification here. You'd have to have this come out further. And you've also got the tire here. Don't forget. There's a big rubber tire, and it's huge. It's the size of a dragster tire. It's turf tire, so it's about 12 inches wide. Not very tall, but 12 inches wide. So it passes somewhere in this area here. And it gives you a couple inches maybe, but so you could definitely add one more. I don't know about 2 more. It might run out of space, but you know, I'm going to put 1 for sure. And this mounting bracket up here is nowhere as thin as the one that came with. That little thin piece of sheet metal with a reinforcing bar. So I'm glad to see that's on there. That should be fine. This won't take very long. So I'll unbolt it and I'll come back. Okay, what I gotta do now is I gotta pull that lever right off, because I managed to I made this last year. This handle, I brought the handle out beside the lift and lower handle, because way underneath here, this is where the knob was before, underneath the seat, which is really inconvenient, hard to reach and find, and you know, you're forever in the dark reaching and feeling around for it. But it's got to come through this little slot right here now, because this handle is going to be for the new control. So I'll have to unbolt it, bend it over a bit, put it back up through here. But I've got 3 of the bolts out. I got 2. I'm going to pull the third one out there now. They're all loose. And I think they go through. There we go. They go through the whole thing. So I'm going to need longer bolts now. The bolts are on that control out there, should be the right length. Okay, so there it is. There's a little cap, little cover cap. And the actual, see that groove, it just allows the fluid, when it's in a neutral position, it allows the fluid to flow back to the from the pump back to the transmission the oil reservoir. And in fact, the little round cover that you take off to put the first set of plumbing pipes on, that's what the cover has in it, a groove like this for the oil to flow out and back in. And once you take it off, it redirects the oil down the tubes and all the way over to this thing, which still does the same thing, allows it to flow back. So now I just got to undo these 3 bolts, pull that same cover off, and I'll either put this one on this set or I'll just reuse this one on the machine. I might do that. So I just got to unbolt these. I can't do it with one hand. Okay, I moved to the vise. Just couldn't. I couldn't get that apart out there. And you're not going to believe, the only 4 parts I need, really 4 or 5 parts, you know, in the kit, are these 3 bolts. These are longer than these. There's the difference. I could go buy those bolts, any fastener shop would have them. I think they're M10s. I don't know how long. Just got to measure the length. So 3 bolts. This lever here, which I could, you know, that is nothing too bad. What's that worth? You know. And the part I'm getting at right now is the one I really need, and that's really Yep. That O-ring I need, I have to reinstall that back on there. Is this piece here? It's all I really need is this. So, it's all I really need. They want $2,200 just for this piece. So it's a no-brainer. I bought the whole kit for $750. And we will just, this O-ring goes on there, and there's the O-ring stayed on this one. So I'll put this back on here. I'll put the short bolts in here. Now that's set up just like it was on the tractor. Now there's a little snowblower. We took it apart to paint it, and it's just almost finished. Just gotta put the chute back on. The hydraulic, there's a device that goes on there. It's got the little hydraulic screw that turns the chute back and forth. Okay, so I've mounted that new spool. It's on it's this one here. I put it on. I moved the old one out, and I put the new one back here because I want these two, this and the lift and lower for the plow, to be on the same, not divided by that other lever. I want that lever all by itself near the seat, and then the other one can be right beside the lift and lower lever, so I won't have to redo these hoses. These two hoses go to the front. They control the angle of the plow or the snowblower, whichever is on there, and this one here, I just got to uncap these things at the back and then put my controls. I might put in a little pipe, extend it out further so I'm not in behind the wheel, and I haven't figured that out yet, but I want to see it all on there so I know, so that right now those hoses would have to hook up right here. I might get short hoses. I might come out, put a 90-degree, mount them. This would be really ideal right here in front of the battery. Maybe mount them right here. See this? Very rusty, this machine. Holes. I just priced out a new floor for it. It's a reasonable price. It's a lot easier than trying to fix this one up. So I might do that. That'll be something I won't do till next spring. And now I could put the two hoses right there for the salter. That would be ideal. And then I can still run hoses to the front for the snowblower, but it would just be, they'd have to be back here. That wouldn't be a problem. But I wanted to get it on there to see how everything lines up. Now I know what I gotta do. So and if it'll clear back here. There's the fuel pumps right there. So that's a little fuel pump for the primary pump. Or it's a filter. I think that's a filter. Yeah. Yeah, that's a filter, and then there's the pump down there, right in there. So yeah, the hose, if I put a metal line there, it's gotta be, I gotta be able to bend it a little bit. It's gotta clear that, and it looks like it might be able to. Oh yeah, I think that would, oh no, it looks directly in line. It's coming straight out, so maybe I could buy a couple of short hoses. Then I can mount them anywhere I want. If they're not in a good spot, I can change them, move them left, right, up, down, whatever I want. Maybe right there. That'd be good. Put a little bracket up there. Anyway, now that I have it on there, I know what I want to do next. The next step. So I may have to take it off one more time to install the rest of the stuff on there, but at least I've got my first step here. It's all together. The trickiest part of the whole job is the O-rings. They stay in, but if they did pop out and you tighten that down, I would know right away. I just cut one of the O-rings, so if that's the case. But if I start it up and run it and the oil comes squirting out of these cracks here, I'll know that's what's happened. So 50-cent O-ring is not a big deal. Alright, so in the next part of my video, I'll try and give you an update in a week or two when I have the hoses installed, and I want to get the salter put on it. We'll try everything out, and the plow installed, everything ready for winter. So that might be in in 2 weeks, maybe beginning of November or so. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and don't be shy to give me a thumbs up. Thank you.